radio show on the planet even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Hello and happy Friday. Welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live here every Friday on Business Talk Radio and Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Our show is all about hope and inspiration and hearing stories of how people have overcome adversity. I'd like to welcome my guest today, Christine Hildebrand. She is the CEO and CMO of Intune Collective. Let's watch a short video about Intune Collective. Wow, that looks like a lot of really relevant and pertinent information considering what's going on in the world today. Let's bring Christine from backstage. Christine, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Jacalyn. So nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too. And you're joining us from California, is that correct?
That's right. That's right. We're just getting back to some decent air out here, which is we're so grateful for.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I know California is really struggling in a lot of ways with the fires. So
yeah.
Let's talk about Intune Collective. I think it's really an incredible concept in terms of putting together all that you do, the coaching, the teamwork, the leadership development, and all really to benefit humankind.
Right. And I'm so happy to hear the intro of your show because it's about taking business to the next level. I think we're also about taking human beings to the next level as well.
I love to hear that. That's what I am totally about. So share with us, how did you get started with becoming the CEO and CMO of this company? I'm sure it's been a long and interesting journey.
Yeah, actually it has. I have always been in business development. I started very young. My family is in the retail business. I grew up in the Mission District in San Francisco and parlayed a career in retail into marketing and business development after college, and just started through the process of just getting involved in different types of industries, and working with this retail company that I was with at the time, taking them public, and then parlaying my background into public relations, and then started more into business development, working with entrepreneurs and mid-sized companies, and then actually was part of the founding team launching Go Health Urgent Care out there in New York with Northwell. So I was involved in opening their first 30 locations in the tri-state area. So just working in all different types of industries, and then I also have had a background in spiritual development, and I'm an ordained minister, and I'm a meditation coach. And this work with Intune is really the sort of the coming together of those two things and really bridging what human beings need in this time with the practical aspects of business development, because we all know that we need strategy and we need the practical aspects of growth and moving organizations and teams forward. But yet we're living in a time where there's an opportunity for us to do things a little differently. And Intune is about helping organizations and leaders do that and arrive at new ways of operating and leading.
Thank you for sharing that. You certainly are very accomplished. And I would just think working with you, you're getting the depth and breadth of all the experience that you've had. And I believe you shared with me that it is an organization that's comprised of women. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're an all-4 women leadership team, but the collective itself has a very diverse group. We're a diverse group in the leadership team. It's really important for us to be representative of the population of the United States in terms of ethnicity, sexual orientation, and gender. And so we have Intune Collective, which is the name, and the collective is a representative of people that have a variety of different backgrounds and skill sets that we bring into client projects. But it's primarily, yes, an all-women leadership team, diverse and all-women leadership team.
Yeah. So what can someone expect when they hire you?
That's a really good question. I think the first thing is that the clients that typically are coming to us usually have some sort of business issue at hand. Either it's an eroding revenue, or it's a competitive issue, or their leadership team is not aligned on a shared vision. So typically also they come with us or come to us wanting to do things in a new way, wanting to be to learning about growth and wanting to understand how they can operate and lead in a different fashion. So what clients can expect is that they're going to be on a learning journey, right? They're definitely on a learning and transformation journey. I mean, we're a transformation company that is both developing human beings as well as the way businesses operate. So definitely people would be on a learning journey for sure. It's immersive, it's interactive, but it's facilitated in a sense that we help cultivate internal intelligence that already exists within people, within team structures, and within the system of organizations altogether. So we're not coming in telling you what to do. We're helping you. We're giving you new tools and strategies to integrate into your current practices, but we're also very reflective back to you in terms of what you're currently doing that's working, and maybe some solutions for how to transcend some non-working patterns.
So it sounds like it's a real partnership between you and the clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there a certain type of company that you prefer to work with in terms of size or location?
It's really at this stage, because of the pandemic and everything is through Zoom, that it's really a global opportunity, and that companies all over the world we welcome. We are working with companies all over the US right now, and companies that are either funded startups to mid-size to some larger organizations as well. So it really runs the gamut. And from technology to education to consumer packaged goods to healthcare. So it's pretty wide and open.
And what types of outcomes are you seeing or have you seen as a result of your partnership with your clients?
Well, I would say the biggest outcome is that people feel that they are able to bring themselves more fully to work on a leadership basis. They feel more integrated as whole humans in terms of how they show up for work. We've seen teams that are more effective in their communication in terms of having more trust and transparency with each other. And then we've seen organizations as a whole and amplify the energy within the organization itself. So, but we start really from the leaders and the individual human basis, and that growth kind of virally spreads into how teams operate, and then ultimately how a system together works. Everybody wants to be able to develop more business, more clients, more customers, greater revenue, more shareholder value, more market domination, more competitive edge. All of those things are OKRs or key metrics that everybody is wanting to have. Our way of going about that is to amplify the capacity internally as leaders and as teams and as an organization inside out, in order to realize a new level of those metrics and successes.
And it seems to me that given the fact that we're in this pandemic and everyone is working differently, that your company is really well positioned to help make some major transformations.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt we're living in an age of disruption right now, and it's highly unsettling for a lot of people, personally as well as professionally. I know a lot of people feel that they have never worked so hard before and are being challenged on multiple levels. A big shout out to all of the professional parents out there that, you know, are running households as well as running companies right now. So, you know, and there are disruptions that are going on an ecological level, which is, you know, yourself with nature, and a social level, which is ourselves with others, as we've seen in Black Lives Matter, as well as the political unrest and division that's going on. And we are seeing it on a spiritual level, which is ourselves with ourselves, right? And so we are very well aware when we come in to address businesses that we need to work with the human first. And that's kind of where we start to reconcile this self with self arena. We bring a variety of different modalities to do that are both neuroscience based, somatic based, energetic based, practical based, to help people kind of come into that alignment and resolve that difference with themselves first, to bring that alignment. And we're calling it aligning head, heart, and gut, right? In fact, there's a funny, this is a kind of a funny aside, is that not everybody knows that we have enough neurons in our guts that resemble the size of a small goat brain. And, you know, we don't realize that we have a small animal brain in our guts, but we don't really pay attention sometimes to activating that gut sense and following that gut sense. And so we like to help people pay attention to it and bring it into alignment with your heart center, which is the destination or the place of compassion, as well as your head, which is obviously our analytical minds and where our intelligence resides. So, you know, this is a very dynamic time, and we also have tremendous opportunity. And at Intune, we feel like that opportunity is to work on developing the inner capacity, the human traits, like I said, you know, developing and listening to the goat brain inside of you, so that we can actually sense and see some of the emerging opportunities that could be great, that are definitely what is needed right now in order to meet the sign of the times that we're all facing.
I'm wondering if you start out with a gap analysis or an assessment of where the organization is at the current time when you start working with them.
Yeah, absolutely. We have the ability to measure sort of resilience and emotional intelligence on a leadership level. We recently did a project for a technology company on diversity, equity, inclusion, where we tested the organization in terms of where they were with things like dignity and belonging and safety, and being able to understand, like, where does the organization reside with these things versus leadership? Where is there a gap between the understanding and skill sets within those two groups? And where is the gap between where the organization started and where they ended up after we've done a series of learning and coaching experiences? The one thing that I want to emphasize, and you're probably getting this by now, is that we do a combination of business strategy, learning development. Obviously, we're providing the tools in order for organizations and leaders to develop this inner capacity I'm mentioning, as well as coaching. So you're getting the actual support in order to make the transformations that are needed right now. And so that's a really key distinction. We're not a strategy company, not an L&D company. We don't just do executive coaching. We're really a combination of those things. And we feel that distinction is super powerful.
I think so. I would have to say that this is the first time I've heard of an organization putting all of these things together. So you definitely have a lot to offer, and we want to hear more, but we're going to take a break and hear from some of our friends who are sponsoring the program. So stay tuned on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn and Christine Hildebrand from Intune Collective. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from 4-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Make a bold statement by wearing a custom jewelry design from Margie, Cidrone, Artisan Jeweler, located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey. Telephone number 215-384-7155. Margie Cidrone is an artisan jeweler who has been a permanent fixture on the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia since 1988, starting her business in 1982. All of Margie's designs are individually handmade as well as custom design. She's one of the only jewelers left in the area who still crafts the finest tailor-made diamond jewelry, whether it's a statement piece or an everyday item. In addition to her one-of-a-kind designs, she specializes in pearl stringing and bead jewelry repairs. Margie Cidrone Jewelry pairs nearly 30 years of experience with the building of lifelong client relationships. Dr. Jacalyn has been a client and friend of Margie Cidrone for many, many years. Each week during my show, Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio, I will be featuring one of the beautiful pieces of jewelry that Margie custom made for me. I urge you to contact Margie through her website, margiecidronejewelry.com. Wait no longer to make your own bold statement.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live here on Business Talk Radio, and a shout out to our friends on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Thank you for joining us. We have Christine Hildebrand with us. She is the CEO and CMO of Intune Collective. Christine, welcome back. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here again.
Before the break, we were talking about how Intune Collective is really making a difference in the world. And we certainly need some help, because what's going on today with so many different topics that you mentioned, how we view ourselves, how we relate with nature, how we interact with other people, how we integrate on teams, how we integrate with our organization. So we had talked about the fact that you do an assessment, and then I'm sure that across all of those areas, you might find that there's a gap. So how do you prioritize what's the first thing that you're going to work on?
Well, I think that the clients really tell us what the first thing is that they need to solve. And typically we are, like, for instance, in this tech client I mentioned earlier, they came to us for a learning program, yet they had just experienced a lapse in their reliability of their platform. And in technology, when customers depend on you, that's not a good thing at all. And so that was a priority for them, which basically created our priority. So we linked the learning and the opportunity to bring the leadership team together and discuss where was there a breakdown in the system between the human beings that actually was the cause of the reliability or the technological breakdown. And so we were able to identify that within the organization and focus the learning in that way. And so we were looking at a diversity, equity, inclusion, and dignity, safety, and belonging topic, but it actually addressed some of the breakdowns in communication that actually responded or basically was a root cause of the technological breakdown. I think Einstein says this the best, is that no problem can be solved from the same level of thinking or consciousness that created it. And so if we think about the problems that exist either in our homes, in our personal lives, at work, or in an organizational system, it could be large or small, is that the way to go about changing, or the way to arrive at a solution, is to change your internal mindset or your internal experience, and develop the solution from a new place. And that's what the learning in this particular case helped this organization do.
That's fascinating. And how do you integrate the coaching component?
Well, one of the things that we feel like it's a very important distinction is that we are providing learning, but in the context of practical application. So there may be new practices, new mindsets, new thinking, new behaviors, new strategies or initiatives, but how do we get there, right? How do we integrate those things into our psyches, into our cognitive, into our physical, into our emotional selves? And that's where coaching comes in. So we're helping with the pragmatic application. We're not just delivering a learning program and say, okay, you're, complete now and we're on our way. We're really looking at how is it implemented in your daily task? How does it shift your mindset? How does it energize your culture? How does it expressed inside your organization?
And what type of feedback are you getting from your clients about the coaching component?
Well, the coaching is really executed on an individual level and a case management level. So we'll get feedback from individual one-on-one executive coaches that we're coaching, but also the entire team, right? So we're looking at all the individual coaches that take a management team, come together on our side and do sort of a case management sharing of information in terms of how people are functioning together. And then there is a team coach that's kind of overseeing and guiding the entire team itself. But the team coach focuses on the entity of the system of the team or the collaboration in this case.
Makes sense. And I would think that given the world we're living in today, you guys have to be extremely busy. I'm wondering what's next for you and Intune Collective?
Well, I think we're always open to creating greater impact. I mean, we're really learning and teaching ourselves as much as we are, helping others. And so we're on a constant growth trajectory ourselves as a leadership team, as individuals, always striving and trying to be better than we were yesterday. So what's next for us is to continue to do the work and to bring more possibilities to both people and the way we operate business, and look at solving some of these, or at least contributing to elevating all of our lives and the quality of our lives here, not only in this country, but around the world.
That's fantastic. I wish you the best of luck with it. And I'm sure you're making a difference every day. And as you know, our show is about inspiration, hope, and overcoming adversity. And that's exactly what Intune Collective is doing.
Well, we hope so. We hope so.
So I want to talk about the fact that you're an ordained minister and you're also a meditation coach.
Yeah, I'm a meditation teacher, and it arrived, my COVID, or my awakening, I would say, happened in 2002, where I did all the indicated things. Like I went to school, went to college, picked a career, found a husband, had 2 kids, built a family, had the big house, and I call it the transformation in the driveway, which really started this quest to find deeper meaning in who I was and why was I here and what was this all about. And I did all of the social things that were expected of me, family expectations. I had already gotten to those things, but there was something inside of me that was missing. And so I went on a journey of discovery. I worked with teachers. I went to acupuncture teachers, started there, working on my body and my physical body. And then I started working on my energetic and consciousness body, and noticing things around my own connection to source, it's not necessarily a religious, I was raised Catholic, but is really only my relationship to divine and divinity inside myself, and how I was expressing it and feeling it and living it. And what was my internal guidance telling me? Sort of like, my gut brain, but also my divine wisdom, what I knew for sure. And I really hadn't had that. And I had all these things on the outside, but I wasn't feeling that relationship with myself that I knew was possible. And so that started a new journey. I ended up getting divorced. I was a single parent for almost 10 years, raised 2 children. My daughter went through a recovery and is doing amazing things in the world with helping women in the addiction and recovery field and trauma recovery field. And I just feel like through my own process of listening to my own internal guidance and cultivating my own strength and alignment, as I mentioned, between my head, my heart, and my gut, and really activating and aligning those things with my life, that's really a driver and a purpose behind what I do today, both at Intune, and I also coach and consult individuals, as I said, either through meditation or through spirit coaching.
Thank you for sharing your story. That's really incredible. What would you say to people who are out there right now who are thinking, wow, she made this incredible change. She probably didn't have any issues along the way. She just is lucky and blessed and gifted. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say, number one, have faith. Believe in yourself. And find some place where you start the seed of what you know for sure inside. And find that really core essence of what you know for sure inside about who you are and what value you have. All of us have value to bring. But sometimes we get lost in, the difference or the chasm that exists between where we are and where we think we ought to be. And so I encourage people just to find that seed of hope and knowing within themselves and cultivate it and bring it out. And also to reach out and develop your own truth and trust your own truth. But no, my heart goes out to everybody right now. I'm not immune from depression and anxiety that is caused by what we're all going through right now. And I would just say to people that you're valued and you're worthy and you have something to offer and bring, and to not be afraid of bringing those skills out.
That was beautiful. And on your journey, were there people who didn't support you, who didn't believe in what you were doing?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And very close to me. I think my parents didn't understand. Certainly, sometimes my children and my siblings who I'm very dear and close to. But you have to follow what is true for you. And if you're following that truth, that joy and fulfillment will come and the happiness will come and it'll start to emanate from you and people will start to understand. But know that don't expect them to say, oh, you have my blessing. It's great if you do. It's great if you have that support. But in the end, it's you, and you have to follow that what you believe to be true. I always love, Oprah is a big mentor of mine, and as she is to many, but what I love in the back of her magazine is this column called What I Know for Sure. And I think we all need to write that almost every day. What do I know for sure? And that's what I was referring to earlier, to pick the thing, what you know about yourself for sure, and build your confidence and strength on what you know for sure. And the outside external voices will have a tendency to quiet.
And looking from where you are today back to where you were, how have those relationships with people who are close to you changed?
Mm-hmm. That's a really good question. I think they understand now. They have greater trust in me. They are also coming to me a lot for guidance. And how did you do this? What did you do? And where do you go and for when you really need to make an important decision that's more than just from your analytical mind. And I find that through the connection to source and what I define as divinity for myself. And I find it in quiet meditation. So what do I say to those people now? I think they are happy for me. It's just, I had to find the strength to stand on my own and to walk a journey that I had to be okay with people not coming along. And that's not an easy thing. That's not an easy thing, because it kind of feels like you're walking away from love and comfort. But it's been very insightful for me to have gone through this journey, because I can have compassion and empathy and understanding for the transformation that a lot of us are taking right now. And in ways, I feel like I went through it before in order for me to be prepared for right now, so that I can be of service. But it's, we come in alone and we leave alone. And sometimes it feels lonely just going through this life. But the reality is that we're not, and we have the support, and to surround yourself with like-minded people who can support you is another thing that I would say.
So many wonderful life lessons that we've learned from you. We could sit here and talk for hours. And I just wanted to tell you, you're obviously highly intelligent, highly intuitive, very accomplished, and you're a true gift to this world. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been my honor.
Sure. Let's share some information about how people can get in touch with you. Is the best way through your website or the telephone number, LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely. I encourage people to go to the website at intunecollective.com, explore around, see what you think. I'd love to hear your comments. You can always leave a message on our contact page or connect with me at Christine at Intune Collective, or call. We welcome conversation always.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the program, Christine. And hopefully we will see you again on our business talk show. And for those of you who are out here watching us on Facebook and YouTube, thank you so much. This is a new initiative that we've just taken up the last couple of weeks. And it's my first time executive producing. So fortunately, I got all the buttons right today. So thank you again to everyone. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, a show about hope and inspiration and overcoming adversity. Thanks to my guest, Christine Hildebrand from Intune Collective. She is the founder, CEO, and CMO. And thank you to Business Talk Radio and Chris, who keeps us on the air. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.